So Gervonta Davis has been released from custody and issued a no contact order in connection with this recent incident. Now, somebody in my Element group posted a video and also a photo, which were from Gervonta Davis's Instagram stories, I believe. And what I saw was disgusting. So the video appeared to show Gervonta Davis holding a door shut, which had glass panes in it, so you could see through into the room. And the room appeared to be mashed up. There was things scattered all over the place as if somebody had thrown a tantrum in there. And then the camera pans towards Davis and his shirt is ripped and he's got spit all over his face, what appears to be spit. Then the photo shows a number of bathroom utensils, Gervonta Davis's toothbrush and a bunch of other things. I'm not going to describe what his toothbrush has on it, but I'm sure some of you guys can imagine if you haven't already seen the picture circulating online. So yeah, that's what Gervonta Davis posted. Now this is clearly a troubled individual, but he, for whatever strange reason, appears to like to keep other troubled individuals around him. And when you are a millionaire, successful fighter, and you haven't been living in the ghetto, you know, Gervonta Davis is from Baltimore, which is a very, very tough city, very tough. I think one of the top 5 toughest cities in America. And I believe he grew up in care, or what in America they call group homes and what have you. So he had a tough upbringing. And, you know, for somebody to become successful and come out of all that, you're going to have a certain element of that tough upbringing in you. But from a logical perspective, if we're going to be logical here, the last thing you want to do is keep a bunch of people who have that same mentality, who haven't evolved their mentality around you. Just because you're from a certain background, it doesn't mean you can't elevate yourself mentally, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, you know, culturally. You absolutely can. Plenty of people have come from very tough environments and they've, as I say, improved themselves. But Gervonta Davis appears to enjoy swimming around in the cesspool still. And, you know, he's involved with, it appears, people who do scummy things. And because you're around people who do scummy things, you're going to end up doing scummy things. And look, just because you take somebody out of a cesspool, it doesn't mean they're going to be squeaky clean from there on in. But I think they're less likely to be involved in bad behavior. Let's just put it that way. And Gervonta Davis has certainly been on camera caught demonstrating some bad behavior. So it is what it is. From a boxing fan perspective, it's very disappointing because this is a guy with a lot of talent. But as I said in the previous video, Davis's career thus far to me has been a big letdown. He's been protected. He's been kept away from tough challenges for the most part. And this despite the fact that he became world champion in his early 20s. He's now 28. You would have thought that by now they would have put him in there with somebody of serious note. So he could have had a legacy-defining fight or several legacy-defining fights by now. He had the opportunity to fight Lomachenko many years ago. Didn't happen. And that's when he was a world champion. And I've always said, if you've got a championship belt, there's no excuse for ducking. There's no excuse for not unifying with the other champions. But they blatantly protected Gervonta Davis from Vasyl Lomachenko a few years ago. So very disappointing the way that his career has been moved. Very disappointing to see somebody with this much talent not have any sense outside of the boxing ring. You know, very, very disappointing. We'll see whether his scheduled fights go ahead, the tune-up, and then this big match with Ryan Garcia. I certainly hope they do. Again, selfish boxing fan perspective, I want to see Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. And as far as this young man's personal life, you know, not quite so young as he used to be, maybe there's no hope for him. You know what I mean? Maybe there's just no hope. I talk about elevating yourself when you come from a certain environment. Well, maybe he doesn't feel comfortable being around people who aren't from the hood, who aren't ratchet. Maybe he doesn't know how to maneuver among different crowds and types of people and different caliber of people, because the people he's around clearly are very low grade individuals, literally the bottom of the barrel. And I'm talking from a moral perspective, right? So maybe that's what he feels comfortable around. I mean, from my perspective, and I came from a rough environment too, not as rough as Baltimore, believe you me, there's nowhere in the UK that is anything close to how rough Baltimore is. But yeah, I came from a rough background where there was a lot of crime and, you know, bad stuff going on. And I know people, not closely anymore, but I know people who are my age that are still involved in nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Still doing bird, and that's obviously an English expression. If you're not from the UK, go look up what bird means in the UK and know it's, well, there's several meanings in British slang. It can mean a woman, right? A slang term for a woman, but no, this is another meaning for the word bird. So I know people my age and even older than me still doing bird, still doing road in their 40s. Like, come on. Still getting caught up in nonsense and silly situations where they end up in trouble or hurt. So, you know, when it comes to bettering yourself, you have to want to. It has to be your goal. You can't be, again, to me, it's bizarre that you would want to stay around all these ratchet people when you're successful. It's like, what's the point in even making all this money and making it out of the ghetto if you're just going to keep the ghetto around you? Again, it's all good keeping people from the ghetto around you who have elevated themselves culturally, morally. Do you know what I mean? Intellectually. That's great. You all grow together. But no, keeping people around you who might have elevated themselves financially, but emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, they're still in the gutter. It's no good. So, and maybe that's just the way Gervonta's going to be for his life, just swimming around in the cesspool. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. And do you think this fight with Ryan Garcia will go ahead? If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.